Cool. Okay, so we're going to follow the same sort of format as podcasts. So, quick intro to what we're doing here. So we got a staff team. Frank will hopefully be joining us soon as well. And the idea is just to run through some different things. So, as I was just saying to these guys, I've never personally run for Footsites or Yeezy or like new YeezySupply, and I haven't run for new Adidas either. And the reason for that is because none of my cards work, because I'm from the UK. But we've got some really experienced guys on the staff team who can sort of run through that with us. So I don't know if one of you guys want to sort of just give like a run through of like what these different sites are about. Like we could maybe start with Footsites and then move on to the other two after. What do you reckon?
So wait, what do you mean by about? Like, what are they?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I can go. So I guess if we start with Footsites, for Footsites in US, there's 4 general Footsites. There's East Bay, there is Champs, there is Foot Action, and Footlocker. They are all the same company. Yeah, thank you, Kids Footlocker. Which, and they're all the same company. Finish Line is not part of that. I would generally categorize Finish Line as a separate company, only because all 4 of the Footsites plus the Kids Footlocker, if you call customer service, you're getting the same exact customer service. It's all one company. Whereas Finish Line is a little different. The way you even run a bot on their site is different. They ban a lot quicker. It's more, they block on the front end. Fitzy, what would you add to that?
Footlocker Canada is also a Footsite. So if you're in Canada, you run that one. The other 4 he mentioned, or other 5 he mentioned, I guess, Kids Footlocker, Champs, East Bay Foot Action, those are all US sites.
And Hibbit isn't the Footsite, right?
Hibbit is not a
okay,
site.
cool.
It's a random site.
Okay.
And Footlocker EU, all those, like Footlocker EU, Footlocker AU as well, and Footlocker Hong Kong, all those Footlockers are all a separate site type that is Footlocker EU, and most Footsites and Footlocker US bots won't do well on Footlocker EU, completely different sites.
Cool. But at the same time, they all kind of share similarities. So they're all like based around like the Akamai system, right? So idea is, so I guess the process. Okay, so I'll tell you the process of Footlocker EU, and then just tell me if it's similar or not to like the US Fit site. So with Footlocker EU, you start off, you set your tasks. They drop at usually either 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. GMT, and usually on Saturday morning. They'll drop stock initially. Usually what happens is they just ban a ton of proxies. The site basically just dies. The drops tend to last for between sort of 2 to 5 hours depending on stock count. So like with higher sort of stock Jordans, you'll be running till like 12 p.m. or something. But like sort of like smaller releases may just last a couple of hours. So we tend to see with Footlocker EU you get a massive influx of checkouts at the start. By like a set few number of people whose proxies can get through. After that, you then sort of get like a few checkouts trickling through, and then we find that quite a lot of checkouts start happening towards the end of the drop when a lot of manual users start giving up, and then the website load is reduced. In terms of like requirements to check out, so you just got obviously like you need to get through the site first, so you need like good proxies. Then you need like your Akamai cookies, but you can also sort of there are sort of bypasses I think for it. I think a lot of them have been patched. So like I think Ganesh used to have an Akamai bypass, but recently they've started just doing like generation within the bot. I think so that's one thing that's sort of a limiting factor across a lot of Akamai based sites. But I don't know. But I've never bought Footsites, as I said. So is that sort of similar to how the Footsites work in the US?
So how US Footsites will work, just concerning like Akamai cookies right now. So what you would do is most big bots now will just generate them for you on a server, and then you just start your tasks, and then the bot will pull a cookie from the server, and then your task is good to go. You don't need to do anything before. And then with regarding how long the releases last and like when checkouts come, it's very similar. So you'll get maybe 5-10 checkouts on initial right when they drop. And then US Footsites have cart holds. In the past, they were 15 minutes. I think on the Earth release, they were 5 minutes. So every time the cart holds will go down because Footsites are terrible and your item will just like get booted out of your cart, or you'll get payment errors. So if that happens, you lose the item in 5 minutes. and then you'll see a bunch more checkouts every 5 or 15 minutes, depending on how long the cart holds are. And then you'll keep seeing that for maybe an hour or so, and then it'll slow down, and then just normal restocks will come in.
Okay.
And Footsites US also don't care about proxies as much. Every now and then they'll do a big ban wave, but there hasn't been a ban wave in like maybe 6 months. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Lately, also from what I've seen, they care more about the email. So you should be able to use the same address, just use a different email. Same.
Can you get away with like catch-alls?
Yeah, I use catch-alls all the time.
Okay, and they don't get cancelled that much, do they?
US Footsites cancel a lot, not as much as FTLEU.
Right.
But really, if you have a different email on each order, like it doesn't matter. Even if it's same card, same Addy, sometimes they'll ship it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're more likely to get canceled if you mess with the address too much, and then they can't verify it because they verify it on the front end.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, so is that like fraud protection rather than actual bot protection, right?
Yeah, it's a fraud protection. So the order will go through, and then you'll get that email of death where it says like, could not verify.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So it sounds a bit stricter than Shopify then and Supreme.
Yeah, they care a lot more about address specific, but not really much about card.
Okay. So basically, it sounds like the general meta for Footsites is, I'm guessing, loads of tasks, as many proxies as you can, and then just as many emails as you can, ideally on a catch-all because it's just a bit easier, right? And then just order as many as you can to the same address and just sort of pray that as few as possible get cancelled, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Cool. All right, cool. You don't need accounts for anything, do you?
No. Okay. Well, some bots have implemented accounts now because of the FLX system. I'm not exactly sure how it works because I'm not an in-store guy at all.
Yeah.
But I think how it works is you have your FLX account, and then you buy something on the account, and you get points.
Oh, yes, you get your platinum accounts and stuff, right?
Yeah, you put the points towards a certain shoe to reserve to go in store. And then some bots now have implemented to where you can put your account into the bot on Footsites, and then it'll give you those points because the bot checked out. So it makes it easier to get FLX points.
You also get like free shipping too if you use your FLX. So you save what, $8?
That's decent.
It's not for every order. It's not for every order. Like I did an order for a friend for those Fire Reds, and I used A and B because they always had account logins from way back in the day, and it didn't, even with that, I didn't get free. And I called and they said, oh no, the quote unquote free shipping for being top tier is not for every item. So just be aware of that.
Okay, interesting. So regarding the cookie, so you say it's generated server side. So that's by the actual bot company itself, right? Like on their own server using their own proxies and stuff. And then it just distributes it. Okay, fine. So can you?
I feel like there's more success. Like if a bot does generate on server side, it like takes less effort for like the users running to generate their cookies.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Like Whatbot and TKS both like perform really well, and they both generate server side.
Yeah, A and B, Phantom, A and B, PD. Both you have to gen cookies. Phantom, you had to last drop. I mean, you still can. Normally, I guess they generate server side as well.
So you can do both. I guess there's like different, like there's a software called Cookie.io or something, which I got beta to and access to, and they do like Footsites cookies. Like you can just generate them for ages, and then you can just import them to your bot. So do you like cookies like expire then over time, or can you just use ones that you used from the previous drop?
Yeah, they expire. I think right now the 48 hours.
Yeah, 24 or 48.
Okay.
Did they change it? They may have changed it because I talked to a Phantom staff a while back, and he said no, they don't really expire. It takes like a year or something, but.
Yeah, I heard that as well, but I've also heard that they expire. I don't know. That's probably something we need to look into and sort of get a definitive answer on.
I think it's a bit up in the air.
Yeah. In terms of proxies, what sort of subnets are working at the moment? So is smart proxy still like a viable option for Footsites or not?
Anything is really a viable option if you run enough tasks. Because you'll get some good proxies, you'll get some bad proxies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Obviously, you want to try to get the most bang for your buck and get the most unbanned proxies that you can. Smart proxies do still work, but they're more clips now. And
yeah, I can imagine.
I think DCs are generally not clipped as much anymore.
Is that just
They
regular
used to be-
DCs or like Resi DCs?
DC like DCAO proxies, Resi DCs, all that
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Anything NetNut works pretty well on Footsites.
I've heard that, yeah.
Because they're Resi proxies, so you're not getting banned, and they're like 200 millisecond ping times. So
That's good, though.
You're pinging really quickly.
Yeah, that's decent. So I guess so. The main thing for like Footsites is it just to get that initial cart reservation, and then you can just check out, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the speed aspect comes in.
Yeah, you just want to cart as quick as possible.
Cool. Okay. So I think that's probably the main difference then between EU and US Footsites is the cart hold aspect. I guess also that EU added that like last drop they added like requirements for accounts as well. Then they literally added that at like 4 a.m. So everyone was trying to generate accounts. Yeah, it was so stupid. And like the thing is, the website's already handles loads so badly as it is, and then they went and added account requirements. Like it was just a complete nightmare. So yeah, the website died.
I'm pretty sure that's how US Footsites used to be, like literally word for word, and it was way easier. That's like back when the Soul Slayer days where you would just rack up 800 tasks on Soul Slayer, 4-to-1 proxies, and it would just start banging them out.
Crazy.
But they changed the sites, and that's when they added Akamai cookies, and it's way harder.
Yeah, Akamai is just a pain for everything. I think it's just horrible.
And I forgot to mention a while back, but in addition to Akamai, you have what's called PX, which is basically their bot stopping solution. That's kind of trash. And so some proxies will work better on certain bots, and some proxies won't work at all on certain bots, like TKS. TKS in the past, their PX solving wasn't that great, so you would get proxies that were working perfectly on Cyber or Whatbot, and then they just wouldn't work at all on TKS. So you kind of have to pick and choose what proxies are good on certain bots, and you really have to do your research.
Okay, so the first question I have on that is, so what stage does the PX involvement? Is it before the Akamai or after the Akamai?
It's when you're preloading the checkout. So most Footsites bots, they'll submit your shipping, your billing, your card info, all that stuff before, and then it just carts, submits order, checkout. So when you're submitting the shipping and the billing and all that, that's usually when the PX comes into effect. That's when your proxies will get blocked by PX.
Right.
If they are caught.
Okay, and is a PX dealt with automatically as well by the bot, or do you have to manually solve it?
Yeah, it's like a Pookie type of situation.
Right. Okay. And is a PX quite variable from drop to drop, or is it quite consistent?
No, it's pretty chill most time. They haven't done anything with it in a long time.
Okay.
It's just kind of
you can hit it manual when you harvest cookies too. After you harvest like 20, 30, 40 cookies, it'll pop up PX capture, and you solve a capture, and normally it lets you back in.
Okay. So I think the first major site to have it, I think, was Soulbox. I think they added it like a couple of years ago or something, and that was like the main limiting factor on botting Soulbox at the time. But it's interesting to see how Footsites added it as well. But okay, so that's the first question, and then secondly is you're saying that different proxies work on different bots due to the influence of PX. So what sort of proxy recommendations would you have for like the major bots? So let's talk about maybe Phantom, PD, and TKS. I think they're probably the three most prominent ones. Oh, and Whatbot as well, I suppose.
Whatbot. I don't run Phantom or PD, so I can't speak on those.
Okay.
Do you run either?
I run Phantom, and I always do a mix, honestly. But believe it or not, Inertia normally runs pretty good. I like to also do some chai cooked, and I mix the release ones in there. And I used to have a guy. Do you guys know Server Destroyer?
No, don't know.
So the Server Destroyer is a guy on Twitter. He does his proxies pretty cheap, like 10 gigabytes and unlimited, and his are fast, but it's kind of a hit or miss. I haven't used them in a while. So you can run a mix, like you really can. You should always use some Resi, some AIO, and then some straight DCs.
Okay. Cool.
And then TKS. TKS. Before they pushed a PX fix not too long ago, so a lot of proxies started working on TKS, but also on Yeezy Earths, I think it was, they didn't even have PX up at the time, so a lot more proxies were working. But in the past, TKS has really only worked with resis. So pretty much any type of resi you can find would work best with TKS.
Okay, so you wouldn't recommend like resi DCs for TKS?
Not really. All the ones I've used in the past, it just don't work on TKS.
Do they get stuck on PX, right?
Yeah, they'll get stuck on submitting shipping, which is basically TKS's way of telling you that PX has blocked your proxy.
Right, okay, I get you.
Yeah, an example of this would be like Oculus DCs. They're the premium DCs. They work on Whoopbot, but they don't work on TKS.
Okay. Yeah. That's quite interesting. I think this is the first. I think is this like the only type of like site where it actually like matters what bot you use and what proxies you use, because I guess you have to have like specific combinations for it to get through. Yeah,
it just depends how the bot or the dev team bypasses the perimeter X.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all with methods how they do it. Yeah, and then Whoopbot and Cyber are the least strict. They have the best PX solving.
Yeah.
And you can use almost anything on those and it'll work.
Okay. So in terms of ease of use, in terms of like simplicity of just whatever proxy, so Cyber and Whoopbot, and then like you said TKS is probably the hardest in terms of it's probably got the worst PX at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they updated recently, so it's hard to say like if this new update really did anything.
Yeah.
Or they're just stuck.
Okay, fair enough.
So guys, I don't know if any of you run Whoopbot, but I don't know many people that run DCs on Whoopbot. So
I run DCs on Whoopbot.
I really haven't seen many people, and when I ask support, they always recommend Resi. So
I guess Resi is always going to be safer. And that's, I think, as like a bot company, it's easier to just say whatever's safer rather than whatever's like high risk, high reward. Because at least you're going to get a consistent result.
Yeah, that's true. But like I know the support guy personally, so he would tell me if if he wanted me to run DCs. So.
Okay, fair enough. I guess there's just different ways of doing it. I think you just need to understand that when you do run those Resi DCs, there is the chance of you getting stuck at PX, but I guess the safest thing to do, or probably in terms of risk management, would be to just run a combination of both, like anything, right?
Yeah.
I think that's meta for every site at the moment. Like just run DCs, Resi DCs, and well, maybe not DCs for Footsites, but Resi DCs and then normal Resis. I think will be good. Cool.
Yeah, the biggest thing for Footsites is just making sure that whatever they pull, that you're gonna do well. So it's gonna work out. So. Just Resi DCs, everything. Run as many tasks as you can, as many bots as you can.
Yeah.
Anything.
Well, just keep your tasks running too, because I think with the Fearless drop, it took quite a while for like checkouts to start rolling in, half an hour or so. It was until like 10:30 till.
Why is that? Is it because they had like a higher bot protection initially?
Sometimes Footsites just get angry and they just shut everything down for
right.
Yeah, they'll put a queue up and they just won't let anything through.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Off-White, but that's very true. That's a good thing.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Has anyone got anything else to add for Footsites before we move on to YeezySupply and Adidas? Or is that pretty much it?
I think that's it.
Cool. All right. So let's move on to YeezySupply and Adidas then. So I guess they've got like some vague similarities to Footsites, but on the whole, I guess it's based upon sort of like your splash page, your waiting room. So you've got different phases. So you've got your initial moment when your waiting room goes live. At that point, they won't allow you to check out, and it's within those sort of like 15-20 minutes before you can start checking out that they start doing these massive proxy ban waves. So when we say don't start tasks until sales goes live, we're literally telling you don't start tasks until you can physically check out. Because if you start tasks before that, they're not just going to ban your proxies, they're going to ban the entire subnet. So if you're running an entire subnet of proxies, your chances basically go to zero.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that's sort of how you're meant to deal with start times with Yeezy, so like YeezySupply and Adidas. And we didn't talk about start times for Footsites actually, but we can talk about that in a bit, I guess. And then then once the sale starts going live, that's when you start your tasks and you sort of start things running. They've also got Akamai with Akamai cookies and stuff. How do US bots deal with Akamai cookies at the moment on YeezySupply and Adidas?
So
Some of the
actually,
top. Go ahead.
Dashi and off the top of my head doesn't do pre-generation at all. They have this side they generated checking out. I have no idea. Bantam, I know you have to generate manually. Some other PD, you have to generate manually. Slash doesn't work.
Sorry, I think you just lagged out a bit there. I don't know if that was just me.
Yeah, I think that's them too.
Okay.
Yeah, you
okay.
really like that.
Okay. Fitzy, do you want to say that again? Sorry, just to see if it's still lagging.
So
That's better.
PD requires you to generate before, as well as Phantom. Dashi and Splash Force generate while you're checking out, and then I'm forgetting one. I'm forgetting a big YS bot that I cannot remember right now. I said it before, but now I can't remember.
It's okay.
Splash Force. Is it that?
Splash Force, Phantom, PD.
Dash.
And Dash. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Balco. Do you know what Balco does? I think you do manual, but you do manual, don't you? Balco.
You can.
Yeah.
They just added that, but before I remember seeing like getting cookie, so they did it while you're checking out.
Oh yeah, I remember that request, and then also the manual that's what I was talking about. Okay, I should probably know this, but I don't. So I'm just going to summarize in this chat. Is that correct? So before is like PD, Phantom, and Balco, and then automatic during is Stashy and Splash Force. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, fine. All right. So you've got all these. So the cookie with regards to harvesting the cookies initially. So is it like, are any proxies sort of accepted for that? Like, I mean, obviously DCs aren't, but like Resis and Resi DCs are, right?
You can actually farm cookies with DCs prior to the drop for like Phantom and PD. I find that it works with like DCs.
Okay, and how long do the cookies last for?
They usually tell you to gen like a day before.
Okay. So it's sort of like a 24-hour reset then? I guess. Cool. Okay, that makes sense. So at what stage is the Akamai cookie required?
Add a cart and just like, check out.
Okay, so is it 2 cookies required per checkout?
I think it's 3 cookies per task, 3 to 4.
Okay, so you need to have like a decent amount then. So how many would you get? If you're using a bot which requires like pre-harvest, how many cookies would you go into a drop with?
So like, say I'm running 100 tasks on PD, I'd probably at least want 300, if not more.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I usually ran. I only had like 200 cookies on Phantom for mists, and I was running like 200 tasks. But since only maybe 5 of them pass through Splash, like I don't need 200 cookies.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess as in it like 100 tasks to 300 cookies is sort of preparation for like a best case scenario, right? Where loads of your tasks are passing.
Yeah. It's to be safe in case the cookies are bad, in case anything goes wrong.
That makes sense. So what defines like a good cookie and a bad cookie that validates the checkout process?
I think it's got a bunch of factors. Definitely, I think it's geolocation, proxy, what browser it was generated on.
Yeah.
Maybe when. Definitely when.
Yeah, the time. Yep.
It's a bunch of different factors. So it's really just like, and sometimes you could harvest a cookie that's perfectly fine, and then it turns out to be bad and doesn't work.
Right. Okay.
Either because YS upped protection at that time, or YS did something weird, or the cookies expired, or whatever. There could be a bunch of factors.
Okay, that makes sense. So is it optimal to be running like cookie harvesting on the same IP that you'd eventually check out with, or like a similar IP at least, like a similar subnet, right?
No, I on Mists, which was the last time running Phantom for me, I generated on my home IP because my server just like wouldn't generate for me.
Yeah.
And then I just exported cookies, sent them to my server. Everything was fine.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
I think it's just more. It's not if the IPs match up. I think it's just how clean each IP is.
Okay, fine. Okay, so on the topic of proxies, so assuming your cookies, you've harvested a ton of cookies and you're all good, right? So what sort of proxies are we looking at the moment which are sort of running well on YeezySupply and Adidas? Yeah.
Can I add something?
Sure.
This guy told me like a while back, maybe 1 or 2 weeks before, that he puts rotating proxy in a proxy switcher.
Okay.
And then harvests his cookies that way.
Oh, that's quite a good idea.
And
Fair enough.
That's
yeah,
the video.
No, it's not a video, or at least I didn't see it in a video. But he can generate a lot more cookies than most of us in the same time span. So
Yeah,
maybe that's a good tip as well.
Yeah, that's quite good. I guess that's kind of similar in a sense to the ones that I generate using Fleek. Like you can generate using what's it called? You can generate using proxies anyway. So I guess I think I do agree. I think that when you run more than one proxy, because obviously if you keep hitting a website generating cookies with the same IP for like over and over and over, it's eventually going to catch on and you get like reduced cookie. At least with like EU sites, I assume it's the same with Footsites. Cool.
YS will basically just stop you from generating after like 8 to 10 on the same IP.
Okay. And can you generate at any time on YeezySupply, or does like splash page have to be open first?
Yeah, anytime.
Anytime. Okay, cool.
You're better off doing it the day before the drop.
Because there's not much load, right?
Yeah, well, a day of the drop, hours before the drop, it's impossible to get like.
Right.
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
I find it like as longer you wait, the harder it is to like generate cookies, because the server is actually like underloaded by a lot of people trying to generate cookies.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. All right. So what have we covered so far? So we've covered cookies in detail. Okay, so what sort of proxy types are we looking at the moment? So Resi DCs and Resis. Have you got any recommendations?
Like specific providers?
Yeah, ideally, if possible.
Yeah, so anything NetNut has worked in the past on YS. So that's gonna be like, I think your Inertia Resi DCs, Unknown Selects. Can't name anymore. I think Space Resis used to be NetNut. I don't know if they still are.
Okay.
But you can tell if a proxy's NetNut by just looking at its user pass, and if there's an exclamation mark in the user pass, that's NetNut.
That's good to know.
That's good to know.
That is good to know that. Cool.
Yeah, I'll quickly check if Spaces has that or not.
Yeah, have a look. Let us know.
I remember they used to. There's also something with ports. One sec, let me find it. If it's a specific port, it's also NetNut, but I cannot remember off the top of my head.
I think it's about finding like the right DC proxies. A lot of DC proxies do work on YeezySupply, like or I guess Resi centers like Leaf Comcast, Oculus Premium.
Yeah.
Hex got some really good DC ones too.
Hex use Comcast.
Yeah.
Leaf Comcast has been working on everything.
That does really good.
ISP proxies of any kind, good on YS. So
okay.
It's just so expensive.
Yeah.
SMT Resis, literally anything that says ISP, Comcast, Verizon, Oculus Premium, all that stuff.
Yeah. So basically, once again, it's run a mixture of your like way I used to run Bulko before I got like an Oculus sponsorship was I used to just do like 25 like Resi DCs or AIO DCs, whatever, and then I'd run like a separate proxy group with just Resis. So I guess having a mixture of both is quite good, just in case one doesn't work. And it's basically the fallback is the Resis, but that's fine because Resis are so cheap anyway. You can just buy like a couple of gigabytes and it wouldn't cost you that much, and you can use that as the backup option in case your mainline sort of Resi DCs don't work. But it also means that you don't have to spend like huge amounts on Resi DCs, because your Resis will still pass eventually. They'll just be a bit slower. So maybe dedicating them to like weaker sizes might be a good idea.
Yeah, it's not with YS. It's not really about proxies being slow. Your proxy can be as slow as you want.
Yeah.
And you'll still hit because
it's luck on getting through Splash, right?
Yeah, it's luck. So it's a combination of how clean your proxy is and not getting banned while you're in Splash, and your V3 and like Gmails and all that kind of stuff. It's those two together that makes you get through Splash. And then also adding to the port thing with NetNut, 33128 ports are NetNut. 33128. I'm just gonna note that down. Cool. Okay.
This is good to know. So NetNut are quite good for you. So you say NetNut are quite good for Footsites as well?
Yeah, they're on the rise right now.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know how they're not clipped.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they've been around for ages, and these are the ones which expire for... Is it 60 days expiration, NetNut? Or is it infinite?
I think so.
Could be.
Because Smart Proxy is 30 days. I think NetNut's either... I think either Oxylabs or NetNut are 60 days or infinite. But I don't think Oxylab's very good at the moment. Smart Proxy's been clipped ever since... what's it called? Like Restock World started doing $3 proxies. And then... I mean, Smart Proxies, like, they're still okay. I still use them, like, for a lot of things, and they work fine, but you just got to get quite lucky. But they have a massive pool, so there is, like, a chance that some will get through. Okay, so NetNut, I might have a look at trying to get a group buy then for some NetNut proxies, just for the sake of Footsites and YeezySupply.
Yeah, it's I'd have to find exactly what plan is good with NetNut.
Yeah.
But, they're pretty good at the moment. And
Yeah, I've heard.
How they've not gotten clipped shows that they're a good provider with a bunch of IPs.
They must just be adding new ones all the time to just keep it fresh, I suppose. Okay, that sounds good. We need to work on that then, on getting some group buys for that. Cool. All right, so we've gone over cookies, we've gone over proxies, we've gone over the whole like weight room splash. So then you get to your checkout, and so in terms of requirements for like preventing cancels and stuff, how like lenient are they with like jigging address and like cards and stuff?
They're pretty lenient on like not canceling, but usually you just want to like change your name, misspell your last name, and just use a new card.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing with YS, how they do things, is I've literally never seen a demand where YS cancel in my life. So what they do is at checkout, they try to see if check if like you're getting a multiple or not. And if you pass that system and check out, then that's good, that's repair.
Right.
But,
okay.
That system is kind of trash and sometimes doesn't work, so you can get multiples kind of easily off it.
Okay, that makes sense. So if you get your confirmation email for YeezySupply, you've basically copped like 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And Adidas?
Not sure. Maybe the same. The same. I think their anti-multiples thing is a lot better. But I don't think they cancel either.
Okay, good to know. Cool. All right, so that was Footsites and YeezySupply. So one more thing. So Footsites, what time do you tend to start? Do you start early or on the drop time or what?
Usually start 15 minutes early, 10 minutes.
Why is
personally
that?
With TKS? You just want to get the timer before the actual drop occurs.
Okay. Do you not risk proxies getting banned if you do that?
No, not really.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's basically when I was talking about like preloading and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's basically your bot preloading the checkout. That's all it's really doing.
Oh,
and those
okay.
15 minutes before, so I can just add the cart, submit order, and you're done.
Cool. Okay, that makes sense.
Also reduces the chance for like your cart being emptied or something while you're trying to check out. If you just submit order immediately.
Sure. Okay.
I'm just gonna switch topics here. For YeezySupply, like invisible captchas, they're called V3 captchas. You want to be signed in to a solver. You want to be solved into a Gmail in each solver with a 0.9 score, and you want to use a different proxy in each solver, so you don't clip your own harvesting of the V3 captchas.
Yeah, because then if you do, then you're basically screwed because you won't be able to harvest it all with it. Fine, that makes sense. So if you're using AYCD, which is basically like the best harvesting, like farming software at the moment, make sure you use the same proxy for your V3, because you will still get one clicks if you use a different proxy, but I found that you get less one click. So I think for each Gmail, you not one clicks, but obviously V3 is not one clicks, but like you get more passes. So I found that if you use the same proxy, you'll get the maximum number of like on like a V2, you'll get the maximum number of one clicks, which is usually 9 one clicks per Gmail. If you use a different proxy but the same Gmail with that really high score, you tend to get like 7 or 8, so you tend to lose like one or two one clicks. And I assume for V3 then that'll probably translate as being like 1 or 2 less tasks passing splash with that V3. How often do you find yourself changing Gmail during a drop with V3?
During a drop, never. I don't really.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it last the whole time then? The V3 Gmail.
Yeah.
That's if you start your task when the sale is live.
Yeah.
because you'll clip the V3, I guess your IP or your Gmail.
Yeah.
If you start like right as soon as Splash is live.
That makes sense. Okay. That's just okay.
You need to be careful with Splash Force, which we've been over a bunch of times, because it just goes so fast and it's generating on the fly that if you make too many tasks, it'll just eat all of them, and then you can't add on the fly. You have to stop all your tasks and everything, and sometimes shut the bot down, reopen it, restart all your V3s, and then start.
What do you mean you can't add on the fly?
So for Splash Force, if you're not familiar, you can add V3s, like pretty much unlimited ones. So it lets you open a new window, log in, and put a proxy in.
Okay.
Well, if you do it while it's running, it will automatically use the local IP no matter what.
Okay.
So
okay.
The minute you hit that button to add a solver, boom, it's hitting your local IP. Which has happened to me.
So basically, do you need to set up all your solvers on Splash Force before the drop goes live?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Before you hit that start button.
Fine.
That's a good point with Splash Force, because also their solvers are stupid. Because basically, if you make too many, as the drop goes on, each solver will just eat more and more of your RAM the longer and longer you're running them, because of caching, something like that. And eventually your tasks are eating so much RAM, the solvers are eating so much RAM, so Splash Force will just die mid-drop if you're running too many solvers, too many tasks. So
Correct.
You really have to be conscious with like how many you run of each.
Really, less is more with Splash Force. I've come to the realization it just is what it is. Less is more. I mean, I have a nice PC, and it's still, after it runs for a while, it just wrecks it.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm not 100% sure, I'm not a dev, but sometimes it'll just kill a harvester before it goes to the next one. Sometimes it loops through all of them, but sometimes it doesn't, and you'll just look and you'll have 2 dead harvesters out of 5. It's really annoying. It works, man. It works really well, but you need to know what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Read the guides. Read the guides that we made. It's on there. Most of everything we just said.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've added a couple more points. I'm gonna just summarize them, and I'm gonna add them to our current guides anyway. But yeah, I think that was a pretty good overview of everything. Is there anything else we've not discussed regarding these sites that we've missed?
I mean, no, not
Okay,
really. I mean,
fine.
going off.
Manual. You want to go over manual at all? Or
That's true.
Yeah. We can do a quick rundown of manual if people want to run it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So manual, you got 2 options pretty much. You either do the multiple people jig, which is basically just you create a bunch of Chrome users, and then just have the YS splash page on each of those Chrome users. And ideally, you also want to log into a Gmail on each of those Chrome users, because of all the V3 invisible captcha stuff that still applies to manual users. So if you want to get through in a decent time, if you want to get through at all, you got to be logged into a Gmail. And then you could also be using one of these acid spoof, is that what it's called, type programs, which is basically the same thing. It's the same multiple people jig, but not on Chrome, I guess you could say. It just kind of sets up the different Chrome users for you and allows you to see all of them at once.
Is that like the S croissant and the other one?
Yeah, and spoof. That's the other one.
Yeah. And burst, right? Minots burst.
Yeah, I think burst too. I don't even know what that is, but I've heard of it.
I could probably get us a group buy for that. Speaking of.
Cool.
So, yeah, I would say 100% that when you go manual with Footsites, if you should pre-log in, and you can actually, if you pre-log in, you can just hold down the enter button, and normally just leave it smashed till it carts. Once it carts, you can normally check out if you do a PayPal checkout. I lose my patience. It's not for me. But
yeah, I can imagine it's quite tedious. Can you get logged out during the drop?
Oh yeah, all the time.
That's just a pain, man. That's like the worst part, I suppose, because even on like EU sites, like you'll be trying to check out manually, and then you just like you're trying to add to cart, and then it just logs you out like at the wrong time, and you just can't log back in.
Something I noticed about Footsites, which is pretty interesting. A lot of times on the app, on the actual phone app, they cycle what you can cart or what's being throttled, because I've had all 4 of them live. I try on 3 different ones you can't cart, and then you go to like the 4th one, and there's specific sizes where you can straight check out, no problem, like no load.
So did they just like hold stock on some sizes and then just not allow these check out until like a particular moment?
There was one drop in particular where they released in waves per site. It was crazy. Like some sites just had, remember that? That was
I know what you. They would put an infinite queue up on all of them, and then they drop queue on one, drop queue on the next, and it was honestly probably the worst day of my life.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was
They
like
just
a
took their
12-hour
time
ordeal.
too. Yep, they just took their sweet ass time with it.
What's that? It was. Can't remember. Some Yeezy.
What's that? Was that Black 350s?
Original Blacks. Original Blacks. I think.
No, it wasn't Original Blacks because I was out of the country. I think it was a restock.
No, it wasn't the restock, because the restock, I remember the restock, I was just like chilling and I hit like a bunch of pairs, like easy.
Phantom worked really well on the restock. Oh, but what was it then?
God, that was so long ago.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Oh yeah, you're probably right, Mike.
Okay, so that's pretty much rundown of Footsites and YeezySupply. Like manually running either. I think I'm not going to lie. Like the group isn't really tailored towards manual use, but if you do want to run, just apply those same principles. Like it's pretty basic knowledge at this point. Just run multiple Chrome users, and just use proxy switcher or something. It's just go watch Keith Adams' video. But I mean, I think we've run down everything there. Has anyone got anything else to add before we wrap things up?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, cool. I think that was pretty detailed.
Form the workers' union. Down with the bourgeois.
Oh dear. All right, cool.
We're not recording anymore.
No, we are. We actually are. We're still recording. So yeah, we'll fire Fitzy after we finish recording. Okay. So yeah, cool. Any questions from our members? Just obviously make a ticket or whatever. If you've got any specific Footsite questions, tag Fitzy in the ticket or Atlas, and they'll probably be best suited to assist you with that. But yeah, cool. Cheers for your help, guys.